Nation SEC opener for your Crimson Tide tomorrow. Bama, Ole Miss, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff from Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa. CBS has the call. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson. But for right now, you're rocking and rolling on what is the hottest show in these streets. Bringing you your Alabama football news, notes, and information in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Happy to have you guys in here on this evening. We bring you the show from the magic city of Birmingham. We stream this to you through YouTube. Speaking of the channel, you know what time it is. You tap that subscribe button. You get yourself locked in and locked on to the only show that's giving you nothing but the hottest entertainment, comedy, but information, alerts on your number one program, that being Bama football. You share the show to everybody that you know, every platform that you have. Get every diehard Bama fan, casual Bama fan, family member, friend, consumer of Tide football hooked on this show. Because if you love the content, guess what? They will as well. You got those thumbs up too. Like the show. Give us a thumbs up right there. Show us that love and support. We appreciate that. We got some super chats to get to early. We got Dale B in here. Dale B in the house with that $20 donation showing love. We got the president, Wayland. Wayland drops in that $9 right there. And we got my man Bill from New York. Big Bill, that 501. Helping us out there. That daily super chat go $100 daily. Super chat going $100 right there. We appreciate you guys. We want to hear from you tonight, the Bama fans. Light us up with your phone calls. You can do this by dialing 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be made known on the show, 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you, but right now, Eli, let's jump into it. Topic one of the conversation, big keys, significant keys for Alabama in this matchup against Ole Miss this weekend. SEC action for your Crimson Tide. All of the goals, aspirations still in front of this football team, but very little to no room for error. Urgency, sense of urgency has to happen now because you look at Lane Kiffin, Pete Golding, rolling into Bryant-Denny. They're looking for a win. They're looking for a signature win. They're looking to upset Coach Saban, knock Alabama to the ground here in this matchup. For your Crimson Tide, it's simple. They're looking for a win here against Ole Miss to take a step forward in this SEC West, and it's push for a Southeastern Conference title. And for Coach Saban talked about it during his Hey Coach show on Thursday. He still believes in this team. He believes this group will respond the right way, even though we have not seen the dominant Bama that the players were talking about all summer long through the first three games. Nick Saban saying that he believes in this team. He has nothing but full confidence in this group, and he senses that this week this team is going to respond and will respond the right way. But hey, we won't know until we see these guys take the field tomorrow afternoon. We won't know until we see these guys come out the tunnel and what type of performance they are looking to put on here. But there are important keys here for Alabama to win this game. The keys are on screen, four of them. Number one, Tommy Rees is going to have to call one heck of a game plan. He's going to have the game plan for his career right now. He's going to have a massive marquee game plan. In the run game, in the pass game, mixing it up, keeping Ole Miss's defense off balance, getting the crowd into the football game, getting easy things for the offense, keeping the offense ahead of the chains and ahead of schedule. Tommy Reese has got to dial this sucker up. He's going to dial this puppy up tomorrow. Tommy Reese, we're putting the microscope on you, sir. You got to have a game plan. You got to have a massive game plan for this week. That's number one. Number two, of the Alabama offensive line, this starts. Talk is over. Action needs to take shape. This week starts it. Talk over. Action needs to enter the room. But this offensive line and Coach Eric Wolford are concerned here. That's number two. Number three here, Kevin Steele has to out-coach, outsmart, outperform Lane Kiffin. And that's a tough task. It's a very tall order. Lane Kiffin, one of the best offensive masterminds in college football. Nick Saban knows it because, well, he worked under Coach Saban. This will not be an easy task for Kevin Steele, but it is one that has to be done. He has to out-manipulate the master manipulator that is Lane Kiffin in terms of offense. Last but not least, Bama cannot afford turnovers. They can't afford to turn the ball over. They can't afford mental mistakes. They can't afford several penalties. They can't have 8, 9, 10 plus penalties. They can't have that in this game. It happened against Texas. You lost that game. It happened against South Florida, and you looked lifeless there for 3.5 quarters. You cannot have this against Ole Miss. That cannot happen. So those are the 4 significant keys that Alabama's got to follow. So starting this off for Tommy Reese here and Jalen Milroe, we know who QB1 is. It's Milroe. Saban announced that on Monday, and he's kept that stance throughout the week. He's talked about it. You know, he's got the confidence in Jalen. He trusts Jalen on the field. He knows that Milroe has the leadership to get this done as far as being the quarterback. But for Tommy Reese, what is your job as an offensive coordinator? Your job is to scheme things, prepare things, provide matchups for your quarterback that fits the skill set of your quarterback. Yes, we would all like for Milroe to be a drop-back pocket passer. Yes, you have people that feel like, well, if Jalen Milroe is going to go to the NFL, he's got to become this drop-back pocket passer. I kind of disagree with that. Lamar Jackson is balling out in the NFL. He's not a drop-back pocket passer. Yes, Lamar has had some injuries. We get that. But Lamar, at his peak health, is not a drop-back pocket passer. Patrick Mahomes ain't no drop-back pocket passer. And we're seeing what Mahomes boy is doing over there. And there are plenty others in the league who are not drop-back traditional pocket passers. And we're seeing that success. What we're seeing is these offensive coaches in the NFL, they look at the skill set of their quarterback, and they are crafting a game plan that fits that skill set to have that quarterback go out there and be dangerous, be efficient, be dynamic, make plays. Even a guy like Tua Tagovailoa is not per se just a full-on drop-back pocket passer. Tua can get out of the pocket and move. And you're seeing what Mike McDaniel is doing for him when you look at the Miami Dolphins. So, hey, there you go. So when you look at Tommy Reese, what does he have to do in this game? Craft a game plan. Hey, I know Milroe is good at this. I know he's good at this. I know he's good at that. Craft the game plan up. Whether it's RPOs, whether it's design quarterback runs, whether it's quick reads, decisive reads, where he gets the ball out of his hands quickly. Whatever you got to do, Tommy Reese, to make sure I'm calling this to where Milroe is comfortable, Milroe is confident in what's being called out, he is executing what's being called out, and we're having an offensive balance. We're having a flow here to this game plan. That's what you have to do, Tommy Reese. That is your job, is making sure, hey, we got the format up, we got it ready, we got it prepared. Let's put Milroe in a situation where he can have himself a football game. It's number one. Number two, this offensive line, the talking is over. It's time to do now. It's time to do. From Caden Proctor to Seth McLaughlin to Darian Dalcourt, Terrence Ferguson, Tyler Booker, J.C. Lather, it's time to do now. Eric Wolford, it's time to do now. It's the offensive line's moment to man up. Pete Golding has seen this tape from Texas. He has seen this tape from South Florida, and he's going to try to run some of the same stuff with this Ole Miss defense against this Alabama offensive line. And it's time for this front unit. Hey, man up. Man up. Go to work. It's time to go to work. If you're trying to win a national championship, if you're trying to put yourself in the conversation, the college football playoff, even if you're trying to shut up the national talking heads that keep yapping their mouths there on TV, this is the game, Alabama offensive line, where you do that. Where you man up and on live TV show people who the real Bama offensive line is. Here's your shot right here. And they got to get it done this week. And it has to happen this week. Number three here, Kevin Steele. I mentioned this. Got to offset, out-coach, outsmart Lane Kiffin. And tall order, tall task, not going to be easy. You even got Lane Kiffin sitting here going, don't feed me the rat poison, Coach Saban, about how you feel like you don't know if your team is good enough to beat my team. I mean, Lane Kiffin is stirring this pot and playing the cards beautifully. I mean, he's using Twitter, he's using social media, he's using interviews. Lane Kiffin is painting this picture beautifully. And you got everybody in the national media going, why not take Ole Miss? Perfect time to take Ole Miss. Rebels are totally going to win this football game. Here's your shot, Kevin Steele, to offset Lane Kiffin. Here's your shot, Kevin Steele, to make Jackson Dart as uncomfortable as possible as a quarterback. Here's your shot, Kevin Steele, to not let Quinshon Judkins run wild on your defense. Here's your shot, Kevin Steele, to really bottle up and contain this Ole Miss offense. I mean, here it is, Kevin Steele. Here it is. Here it is right here. Here it is right here. Here's your shot, Kevin, to show I came back for a reason. I was brought back for a reason. I can still offset, mess up some of the best offenses in college football. Here you go, Kevin Steele, right here for you. Can you outcoach one of the biggest offensive masterminds in college football? Saturday is your chance. So last but not least here, you have Alabama cannot have the penalties. It can't have the turnovers offensively. It cannot have the penalties offensively. It cannot have the mental mistakes offensively. Defensively as well, but just offensively, you can't give anything to Ole Miss. Even on special teams, you cannot have the muffed punts. You cannot misjudge the bounce of the ball. You cannot put yourself in horrendous field position. Everything you got to do, Alabama, you got to put yourself in plus territory. Plus territory, having positive things happen. And even if something negative does happen, flush it quickly and move on. Don't dwell on it. Flush it fast and move on. You can't afford to just give Lane Kiffin stuff. He's already good. You can't give him any more. But those are the keys here, significant ones for the Crimson Tide, 4 of them, in terms of going about having a quality game and getting a win here over Ole Miss. But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting started with you on a Friday. When we come back, we jump on those phone lines. We grab your calls. We get your thoughts, your viewpoints, your conversations. How are you feeling right now going into this Ole Miss matchup? We'll get to you, the Bama fans, after this.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, folks, we're back into the action, rocking and rolling from the break on. The number one forum for your Bama football news, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. On a Friday, we got the veteran Eli Walker in the production studio, holding things down behind the glass here. We got some super chats to get to right now, so how about Minister RC 999 in the super chats, dropping the love right there. But wait a minute. Is that Adam Lapierlo? Oh my, it's Adam with 50! Adam with the $50 donation! Dropping it in there! That go there, $100. Daily super chat go $100. We appreciate all of you making this short show your spot here for Bama football. We go to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in and get your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. We take this call right now. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steve, it's Michael from South Carolina. How you doing?
Doing good, Michael, and yourself?
I'm pretty good, man. I just got a couple questions for you. But before I say that, today's my 30th birthday, so
happy birthday to you, man.
Thank you. And I just got 2 questions for you.
Go ahead.
So at the offensive line, we've had problems with, guys like McLaughlin and Caden Proctor. Is there any chance we could possibly see a change at center if Seth McLaughlin can't hold up?
You could. I know Terrence Ferguson has been working some at center as well, snapping the ball, making those communication calls across the board. So you could. Nick Saban would not want that because he really likes what McLaughlin does provide. But Seth has been struggling with snaps these last 2 games, well, all 3 games, if we're going to be honest. So all 3 games. But if this continues, you could see a situation where Terrence Ferguson could slide in that center spot.
And then lastly, how important is it that the Alabama secondary plays well against Ole Miss receivers? Because, they got really good receivers like, Dayton Wade and Jordan Watkins and Trey Harris, good running backs like Quinshawn Junkins and Ulysses Bentley, great quarterback in Jackson Dart. How important is it that whole defense plays really well against Ole Miss?
It's critical, Michael, because we all know Lane Kiffin loves matchups. He creates matchups. He wants to get his best player on what's perceived to be the opposition's worst player. He did that exceptionally well at Alabama, so it's going to be critical for the secondary to not just cover well, but tackle well, trust your keys, but even more so than that, it's going to be huge here for the defensive line, the linebackers, to wrap up on Quinshawn Judkins. Not let that young man run wild because he had over 100 yards rushing in this game last year. And also it's going to be big for this Alabama defense to get some heat to Jackson Dart. I mean, make him feel uncomfortable from the first snap. Wrap up Quinshawn Judkins, but definitely get some heat to Jackson Dart and let him know it's going to be a long day for you, man. It's going to be a long day. So it's going to be critical for this Alabama defense, coached by Kevin Steele, to put some heat on Ole Miss in every facet.
Thank you, Steve. Have a great day.
Appreciate Michael from South Carolina calling in right there. We grabbed this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, this is Adam calling from Georgia. How you doing?
Adam, doing good, and yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks. I just had a quick question. So there's been so much criticism of Tommy Rees, just like there's been criticism of Bill O'Brien and, Pete Golding. But the way I look at it is, why are we being so critical of Rees? I mean, Milroe hasn't executed consistently. He had open receivers in the Texas game. He missed Roy Dell on that wheel route. And, he had 2 bad interceptions. The O-line hasn't been playing well. And the receivers didn't get separation in that game. So I kind of feel like we should reserve judgment on Rees until we see the players execute. What do you think?
I mean, and Adam, I can see that. There's solid points made by you. There are throws that Miro did miss on against Texas. Absolutely. The offensive line has not been playing its best ball, and that goes to position coach Eric Wolford and also the offensive line, those guys themselves executing, not just talking, but being about the action. So I can understand your point of let's not put it all on Tommy Rees, first year in the program, first year in the system, coming from Notre Dame. So I can see where you may be coming from with that.
All right. Well, listen, I'm just praying for a win tomorrow, man. Great show, and roll Tide.
Absolutely. Adam calling in there from Georgia, giving his thoughts here on the show. We grabbed this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hi, Stephen. Bill from New York. Not too happy. We got a situation up here. I'm getting texts. It's on the news all the time. They're talking about a tropical storm coming through. And the thing is, I have DirecTV. I'm not afraid to die. I don't care if my car gets smashed. I want to watch this game. And I have DirecTV, and, when the bad weather goes out, I called my daughter and told her I might be coming over because she has cable, and she goes, wait. You want to drive here in a tropical storm to watch a football game? And she's kind of making sense. So, I don't know what to do. But anyway, it's too bad because I figured out a way we can win this game, with my dumb me. Here's what I think. I want to see 200 yards running. I want to see Milroe get 100. I want to see my man Justice Haynes in there. Get him in. He'll break a long one. You know what I mean? And if you get a lead on Kiffin, believe me, I've been watching him a little bit myself for years. He can start to panic on you. You know what I mean? And then you come after the quarterback, and we're done. We're done. We go after that. We run the ball, get a lead, go after their quarterback, and then Milroe can throw all he wants because they'll have to gang up on the line. Am I making any sense to you, Stephen?
Making perfect sense, Bill. And Bill, love the thought of you driving to your daughter to watch the game on cable. I mean, have that passion. Do what you got to do, man.
Yeah, I know. I know. What I wanted to say, too, is if you remember, I don't know, you're young, but Mike Williams, remember him? He played at Texas. He was the right tackle. He weighed almost like 400 pounds, 380, whatever. He had sent the bench press record at the combines. Well, you know what he was doing? He was crushing people. He was beating people up because he was so much stronger than them, and he wound up getting picked 4th in the draft at right tackle, which is ridiculous, but that's another topic. But what I'm saying is we have these monster tackles. These guys are huge. They're not playing well. Let them fire out and run. On running plays, they know the count. They could just go over and steamroll, I don't want to, people, and, win the game. But I'm going to let you go. I'm on pins and needles over here, you know what I mean?
Hey, Bill, I feel you. Appreciate my man Bill from New York calling in right there. Wondering, will he make that drive to watch the football game with his daughter? Will he make that drive? But definitely Our thoughts and prayers out to everyone where this tropical storm is concerned. We are in this weather period, Eli, where this type of thing does happen. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Derek, I'm calling from Omaha, Nebraska.
How we feeling there, Derek?
I'm sick to my stomach, man. I'm sick and tired of these media heads just sitting up here talking bad about us, man, but we're not showing nothing when it comes down to it. And I'm fed up because we've been spoiled for so many years with awesome teams just to see us go out like this and talk a big game but never show up. So I'm feeling a little, we better do something or I'm just going to cut the TV off as far as college football for the rest of the year.
I mean, Derek, you and quite a few fans feel the same way. I mean, it's now about action. I mean, Courtney Upshaw, former Alabama player, former All-American Alabama linebacker, two-time national champion, Super Bowl champion. Upshaw is now a coach at Pale City High School. He's talking about, I'm tired of these guys just talking. When are they going to do something? I'm tired of hearing just the offensive line, defensive line talking. Go out there and be about it. And when you're starting to hear more former players voicing their opinion about this, it's not something that's just hearsay. Everybody's seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, the way I grew up, if you have to talk about it, they already let everybody know you're scared. So
right.
If you just go out and do it, and I don't want to hear about no players meeting. You don't even need to tell the media that. That's for the locker room. If you're real about it, that's for the locker room. I don't want to hear about that. But the reason for my call is I know this is going to be out there and everything, and I'm probably going to hear something about it. But the recently fired Mel Tucker, do you think Alabama will try and bring him back? I mean, I know he got some things going on with him, but do you think they'd probably try and bring him back because he did have a good defense when he was with Alabama?
Derek, I will say this, and I had this conversation with a friend of mine. Mel Tucker was one coach Alabama should not have let go from the jump. Mel Tucker should have been after Kirby Smart left, Mel Tucker should have been the DC. He should have been the DC.
Right.
Mel Tucker in 1 year turned Alabama's secondary completely around. I remember 2013 and 14, it was if you want to beat Alabama, throw on Alabama, they cannot cover. Mel Tucker in 1 year had that secondary, 19 picks, 6 of those returned for touchdowns. It was crazy. And the fact that you let Mel Tucker walk was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if Saban makes that move because of all the allegations going on in Michigan State that's involving Mel Tucker, but I would like to see at least a call be made, at least reach out, and especially once you gather that information of what's going on in Michigan State, at least definitely reach out to see, could you bring him back for Tuscaloosa? Because Mel Tucker is somebody that knows what he's doing in terms of defense.
Well, that's the way I feel, and I want to thank you for taking my call. I'm just going to continue to watch you and take some Pepto-Bismol for my being sick to my stomach about this whole situation. But you roll tide and you have a good one, all right, man?
Appreciate Derek calling in right there. Man, my man's sick to his stomach, man. Dear goodness. We're going to continue with phone calls. So we're going to take this one. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Steven, this is Rob in Colorado.
What's going on, man?
Man, I want to say, I appreciate what you do, and Kyle, and you guys have great shows. It's great for the fans. Good energy, just good people. Who was the comedian on your show?
That'd be Steve Brown.
Yeah, him and Marvin are funny. They're a good tag team. But he said that he made a comment a few shows ago. He said that you guys got one of the best sports shows. And if you looked at the views and stuff, and that will grow and the subscribers, you say, well, what do you mean? But listening to ESPN and Fox News and all that, and Fox Sports and all that stuff, you guys are more entertaining. You guys have the more so he's right. I definitely agree.
And Rob, we appreciate that coming from you. I mean, I know the national people, they have what they have, but when you're able to have a product where you're talking about one certain team, and that one certain team is Alabama, and you have a network, a conglomerate, if you will, of Alabama fans that are very passionate about this program, and they want to see this program win, you want to provide them with that entertainment.
Do you remember the read pass run pass option where they would both hold the ball? I think Tua did it with like Najee Harris or something like that. Do you remember when we used to do that?
Yeah.
Man, you know what? With this quarterback, and I'm sorry if somebody already brought this up, but with this quarterback, I think that'd be great. With we got like I think 2 backs that we've seen this year, but backs 1 through 3 with our mobile quarterback. I feel like, and I don't know if it's too late in the season to implement that, but if we did the run pass option, we'd get first down after first down. We would move down the field. I think that would be huge for the Bama offense at least. Do you see us doing that, or you think it's just too late in the season?
I don't think it's too late in the season. I think if I'm Tommy Rees, I definitely would start calling more run pass options from Milroe in this offense. I mean, me personally, I got a little bit of Paul Bear Bryant in me right now. I will pull out the wishbone. Being dead honest, I will pull out this wishbone right now. I will pull it out. You got so many running backs in the backfield. I mean, you could give it to Jam. You could give it to Jace McClellan. You could give it to whoever you want to give it to. And with Jalen Milroe's legs also, if I was on the field, I would literally have a Bear Bryant moment, and I would pull out the wishbone and just completely befuddle Kiffin. He would know what was coming.
I agree. I think Kiffin's going to try to run the ball. He's going to try to set something up. He's going to run the ball, and then he's going to try to. I think last year they ran the quarterback a lot, but they're going to try something down the middle, and I hope Moore hurts him again. That interception, from last year, it was beautiful. But yeah, I see them doing something like that. I think we'll beat Ole Miss. And I'll do a score prediction. I'll say 21-28. I don't know if some people think that's too high or too low, but I'm seeing 21-28, somewhere around there. Not exact numbers, but we have to give Jalen Milroe some time to get comfortable, gel with the O-line, gel with the wide receivers. It's pretty evident he is QB1. I miss those days where we just came in and played mad like Ryan Anderson, and these guys were locked in. I think the NIL hurt. I really think the NIL, and somebody said it. Who said it? Somebody on Kyle's show. The NIL really hurt Alabama. Maybe not college football, but it hurt Alabama, and I do feel like it will make Saban. If Saban was going to coach for 6-7 more years, I don't see it. I don't know, maybe I see hopefully I'm wrong, I see one or 2 years left because these guys aren't as motivated. I heard Manti Te'o talking, Mr. Catfish himself. They were making all this money off his jersey and stuff, and he was just hoping if he could get some Jimmy Johns. He was on ESPN talking to Pat McAfee. So, yeah, I didn't want to take too much time. Love your show. I don't call it all the time, but I always listen. And I'm a proud supporter. So have a good time. I'm listening to the rest of the show. God bless everyone. Have a nice afternoon.
Appreciate Rob calling in there from Colorado, giving his thoughts here on the show. We picked this call right here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stephen. I'm Mr. Robert from Mobile.
Robert, what's going on, man?
Hey, this game has this whole season has a Alabama 2015 vibe to it, and this game has a Georgia versus Alabama 2015 vibe to it. We had the same old situation with Coker back when he was the quarterback in 2015. We lost the game, and we're coming up on just a do or die game we came up on a do or die game against Georgia, and we prevailed. Now, someone brought up a good point. In 2015, we had great coordinators, great offensive coordinators, great defense, especially great defensive coordinator. and some good players around Jay Coker to help him out. And of course, the offensive line was outstanding during that season as well. So there's a lot of things that was going for Alabama in that season. It may not be going for us in this season, but it just has that sense to it. I mean, this game, as everybody has said, is going to define the season. The season could very well end tomorrow. Because we lose the game, we can go from we can lose another 2 after that easy. With have a 4-loss season this year. So let's do it, die. This is the season on the line. I disagree with. I won't say disagree with the caller before it just went off. But I've heard other people talk about NIL, but it's and I keep coming back to saying, well, it's kind of irrelevant, about NIL. It's here to stay. We either learn to navigate it, or we go back to being where we went. We're kind of irrelevant, like Alabama was for it before Saban. That's the 2 choices: either learn to navigate NIL or go back to irrelevancy. But it's not going to go anywhere. So complain about it or talking about it. I guess at this point it's kind of irrelevant. It's not going to change anything. But yeah, the offensive line, of course, is the key to everything, to the success of the team. But Milroe's going to have to learn to improve as a passer, because it can't be we're going to stop Alabama from running and force him to pass. If he wants to go to the NFL as a quarterback, then you're going to have to be able to pass. If not, then you may want to switch positions. But that can't be the Achilles heel of Alabama. You force our quarterback to pass, and you just keep them from running. Well, we have to make them pay for that. And as your other callers have said, a whole lot of that is offensive coordinator. It's dude, where's my slants? Dude, where's my screen passes? Where's my pass to the tight end across the middle? Where are those routes? So we need to see more of that as well. But it's going to be interesting as do or die. It'll be interesting to see how the game turns out tomorrow.
Appreciate Robert from Mobile calling in. It is do or die for Alabama. This is a situation right here. If you're trying to get to an SEC championship, wanting to compete for that, if you are trying to compete to get into the college football playoff, all of that starts Saturday. Do or die. Your back is against the wall. How does Alabama come out here? Of course, it's going to have the fan support. The fans are going to pack out Bryant-Denny. I wholeheartedly believe that. Eli, you and I may be in a sea of all type of stuff tomorrow. But how will the team come out the tunnel? How will the team react? That's the big question. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, Steve. How you doing? This is Pat from Atlanta.
Hey, Pat. What's going on?
Not much, Steve. I'm ready to look forward to it. Looking to see how Milroe bounce back from it. But I think he'll do good. That's all. Just trying to stay positive to the rest of the season here on out.
Right, and that's the main thing. You're trying to be optimistic. You're trying to remain positive. Coach Saban has said, "Hey, I like this team. I have a lot of trust in this team. I believe in this team." My whole thing is can this team prove Saban right in terms of his trust in them? Saban has said a lot so far. I trust this team. Can this team prove Saban right?
Yep, exactly. And I trust him, even though it may be a different Saban than we had early on in the 2010 on throughout. It's different Saban, but he's trying to adapt and get more on the player side. But they gotta vouch for him. They gotta, put up for him, because he's trying to gel and mold to the players of this generation too with the NILs. He's trying his best to, especially later on his years, he's gonna be kind of, he's gonna change with the time. So they have to try to, reimburse him for him trying to change with time and be more, with the times, I guess, how Saban is. So
Right.
That's all.
Right. I mean, he's poured into them for 10 plus years. So now it's time for the players to pour back into Coach Saban in a way that, hey, Coach, you've always had our back. You trust us. We're going to prove you right. We're going to do everything we can to prove you right. But appreciate Pat from Atlanta right there calling in the show. Absolutely. Pat from Atlanta calling in right there. J.D. Long with the $4.99 in the Super Chats. Appreciate that from J.D. We've hit that goal of $100 in the Super Chats. Appreciate all of you guys helping us out right there. But we got a cool call topic here. Before the cool call topic, though, got to give a word out to our sponsor of today's show, brought to you by Caldera Lab. Caldera Lab, the leader. We're talking the leader in skincare. So, gentlemen, we all know first impressions matter. They do. And if you're not taking care of your skin, that's going to be the first thing someone notices and instantly either thinks you're way older than what you are, or you just don't care about your appearance. Show them you do and make a great first impression. Caldera Lab. You're going to brush your teeth daily. You are, or at least I hope you are. Incorporating skincare steps before it guarantees to not mess up your routine, leaving your breath fresh and your skin refreshed. Caldera Lab creates high-performance men's skincare products, and the regimen leads off the product lineup, a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. Caldera Lab knows the skincare world is heavily female-driven and has long been the wild, wild west for men. That's why they're making their solutions simple. Caldera Lab is the leader in men's skincare made only with top-tier ingredients, and clinical trials have found 94% of men's skin showed an overall younger-looking appearance after using Caldera Lab for a few weeks. 1 minute in the morning and at night, it's all it takes to reduce your wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. And just for our audience, we have an exclusive offer. This is their best offer anywhere. You use the code TDA at CalderaLab.com and get 20% off right now. You can't beat that with a stick. Get 20% off using the code TDA at CalderaLab.com and make unforgettable first impressions that lead to the charming words, "Hey, you look younger." Get 20% off using CalderaLab.com. TDA. You jump to that skincare with Caldera Lab. I've gotten the chance to use it myself here, and it's been good for me. Been really, really good for me. But our awesome call topic here, folks, goes to Alabama athletics changing the game with a unique NIL partnership. They got the partnership with Learfield. And so Learfield with the partnership, there is the thing is called the Advantage Center. So the Advantage Center, it's inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. And what it is, it's a place where student athletes can do their own podcasts and make money, create their own videos and make money. They can talk to their NIL representatives from other NIL companies. It's really student athletes being able to network and market off their own brand. It is done inside Bryant-Denny with the partnership of Learfield. Greg Byrne having the foresight to really, truly change the game or up the ante as Alabama doing its thing there with name, image, and likeness. But we take a break right here, folks, in the show. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, could the Crimson Tide be getting 2 starting linemen back this week for Ole Miss? We'll talk about it after this.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, in my own words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll time. Roll.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are in the water with the boat. I'm just joking. We're back into it. We're back into the action right here on the hottest show on the streets. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA on a Friday. Eli, don't you let me drive a boat, man. Don't let me do that, Eli. Eli, don't let me do that. Because I'll be in one part of the boat and you'll be somewhere going, why did I let this nut drive the boat? But anyway, we got to give a shout out to Siobhan Pompey. Siobhan Pompey, that $4.99 in the Super Chats. Dropping the love in the bucket. Showing us love right there on the show. You guys continue tapping the like button, subscribing to the show, sharing the show around, making this your spot here for all things Bama football. Second topic of conversation. Now, Alabama did not have two starting linemen against South Florida last week. It did not have offensive guard, left guard, Tyler Booker, or right guard, Tyler Booker, excuse me. And they also didn't have defensive lineman Jaheim Otis last week. Tyler Booker dealt with the back issue, Jaheim Otis a foot issue. Now, both have been in practice all week. Saban had both guys listed as day-to-day, but they both practiced this week. So, got a chance to speak with a close, good source of mine, well connected within the program. Right now, according to him, it looks like a 70-30% chance that Alabama could have both Booker and Otis on the field for Ole Miss. 70% saying they do go, 30% saying they don't go. But it looks like, this will be a game-time decision. And much like we mentioned with the likes of Jalen Key and Malachi Moore, when they were banged up, if these two feel like they can go, they're going to go. If they feel like they can go, they're going to go. And I look at a guy like Tyler Booker, who means so much to this offensive line. Saban calls him a leader. Saban calls him a fierce competitor. Saban looks at him as that guy on the offensive line. And you could tell with him not on the line a week ago, it kind of threw the chemistry off because, Caden Proctor had some problems. Everybody up front had some problems because Booker wasn't out there. Booker kind of brings everybody together, so to speak. Now, I understand these guys have to stop talking and be about that action, absolutely. But Tyler Booker does kind of bring everybody together. So having him back on the field against Ole Miss, that's kind of a big deal there for the Crimson Tide. So hopefully he'll be able to go. He has practiced throughout this week. Where Jaheim Otis is concerned, the Tide has looked at him as a defensive tackle, as a nose guard, but also as a defensive end, trying to get him to play different positions there along the defensive line. And with him being back up front, though, we haven't really seen him so far this season really offset, reset the opposing team's offensive line like he did multiple times during his freshman campaign. But maybe we see a different story against Ole Miss. The stakes are high. It's a marquee matchup. It's a critical game. Your back's against the wall. It's now or never. All of these type of scenarios here. So Otis, Booker, both guys banged up, did not play last week, but this week, both out there in practice. Saban having them listed as day-to-day. Close source of mine is saying 70-30 in terms of do they play, do they not play. Strongly the 70% they're playing. So both guys game time decisions. If they both feel like they're going to go, they're going to go. But I would like to see both of those guys on the field because you need all hands on deck here when you talk about playing against Lane Kiffin, Pete Golding, and Ole Miss. But We take another break here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we jump into the phone lines. We go back to your calls, your thoughts, your viewpoints, conversations with you, the Bama Nation. Line us up after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, you know, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we're back to the action here on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show, number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciating you guys for hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, making this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk all things Bama football. Before we get into the phone lines to grab your calls, get to this call segment here, we got to give another word to our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy sponsor here for this show, and we're excited to announce the new partnership with Underdog Fantasy. We decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Underdog Fantasy has a lot to offer, including their Pick'em game. So in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or a lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can win 20 times your money by going 5 for 5. They also have, get this, they also have the Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, you got to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with the promo code Alabama and get your first deposit double up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with my promo code, with the promo code Alabama, to get your first deposit up, doubled up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy. Check them out right now, Underdog Fantasy. Gotta show some love to Bobby Sprinkle! Bobby Sprinkle, that $2 donation. Dropping that in the bucket right there. We got another one here. We got Eddie, let's see here. Eddie Rhodes, baby! Eddie Rhodes with a 20. Is that 20? No, it's not 20. It's a 20! Eddie Rhodes at $20 donation. Putting that in there right there. Appreciate all the support they're coming from you guys. We go to the phone lines now to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. But I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, Steven. This is Mike from Kentucky. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, Mike. Doing good, man. You got Ole Miss tomorrow. I'm ready to see this. I'm ready to see these guys put on this show and shut all these people talking junk up.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of tired of it myself. You know, I just hope they can it's going to come down to play calling. You know, it seems like the play callings caused a lot of the bad play. You know, defense getting plays in late, you know, things like that. You know, I hope we can click on all cylinders tomorrow, man. It's an SEC game. There ain't no pushovers in the SEC. You know, script 3 plays at a time, play fast. Hopefully Milroe can keep them off balance with that athletic ability. They'll have to spy him. Maybe that'll open up the middle of the field on some rollouts or something. I don't know. But, you know, they've got to execute an offensive game plan. It just seemed like last week we were in freaking la-la land. You know, there wasn't no continuity. There wasn't no rhythm. It was just, it looked like a scrimmage more than a game last week offensively. Hopefully with Milroe back on the field, I think he can light a spark, you know, score one early, keep him off the field. I got a positive attitude about it. You know, I'm not going to knock the O-line. I hope they just decide to, you know, just get mean one time, man. If you got to club a guy in the ear hole to get his attention,
I mean, Mike.
See some fight out of the O-line. I want to see him fight. You know, there comes a time when you're playing football, and there also comes a time when you fight. You know, when you fight, you got to be hard to hit and harder to hold. So, you know, you got to get that kind of mindset and get it done. Roll dadgum Tide, brother.
Appreciate Mike calling in right there. I want to see the offensive line wake up and choose violence. Am I okay with saying that? Am I good with saying that? I want to see the offensive line wake up tomorrow morning, and choose violence. That's all I want. Wake up Saturday morning, thank God for the day, and then choose violence. In that order. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How are you feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Will from Austin.
How we feeling today, man?
Feeling good.
What's on your mind, Will?
So this is my first time calling. I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. I've been watching for about maybe 2 to 3 seasons now. And that this Bama team is just it's very weird because I hear like Paul Finebaum talk about Nick Saban like he's Joe Biden, like he's old, demented, or whatnot. He has some quote on Twitter. And it's just very weird. Everyone's now coming down on Bama so hard now. It's very weird.
I'll say this. I mean, Will Finebaum does what he does, which is stir the pot and get people riled up. So he does what he does. So I expect nothing less from Paul. But Coach Saban mentioned this week that he senses this team is going to respond the right way, not only against Ole Miss, but moving forward throughout the remainder of the season. My thing is when these guys get out there on the field, can they just prove Saban right? That's my thing. Get out there on the field and just prove Saban right.
Yeah, and also I think that the line is a new line. There's a freshman starting there. And there's some first year players there. I think that we might have overestimated the team for what they were. As far as national champions, I wouldn't go that far with it because I mean there's a lot of new guys on the line. There's a lot of freshmen kind of coming in there all of a sudden for it. But I have a question for you. What's with the rotation at the running back? I mean, you got Haynes, you got Miller, you got Young. Like, you know, we're not seeing them. We're just seeing Rodell and we're just seeing Jace. And against South Florida, I thought it was a good time for them to play some of the freshmen because, you know, Jace wasn't, you know, doing it very well. Rodell was doing his thing, but I just feel like there's not enough rotations with so many positions, huh?
Well, Saban mentioned Wednesday, Austin, that the young guys are finally now ready to truly contribute. And that would be Justice Haynes. We've been waiting on him after the A-Day game he had in the spring he had. Then you got J.M. Miller. We've been waiting to see more of him, especially after the way he did last year late in games. I mean, that also brings up Richard Young as well. So now we're at the point of the season where Saban feels comfortable and confident that the young guys know what they're doing, not just run the football, but also in blitz pickup and pass protection, those types of things. So I think starting Saturday, you will get to see more of that rotation as Saban will unleash the young guys.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to say this one last thing. That I think that, you know, as the season progresses, I think Proctor's going to get better. I think that, you know, the O-line is going to get better. I think that everyone's going to get better at the very end of the season for it. And I just think that we just need time and patience because, watching the South Florida game, it was a struggle, yes. And that with SEC play coming up, I think what we need to do is rally behind everybody, make sure that we have positive vibes going on. And that since Milroe is now the definite starter, I feel like we all just need to support and get behind him. And that hopefully Reese can come up with a package that helps him out more for it so that he can be more comfortable with it, with everything for it. Because, people said that he could be like a Lamar Jackson-esque type of quarterback for it. I mean, if he could be a shade under Lamar, I'd be happy for it. So I'm going to let you go. Thanks for taking my call. I will definitely call back again. Roll Tide. Have a good day.
Appreciate Will from Austin calling into the show on a Friday. We grabbed this one. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name. Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Justin from Memphis.
Justin, what's going on, man?
Man, you got it, Steve, man. I've been a fan of yours for about 2-3 years now, man. It's my first time calling, man. I'm just happy to be up on here.
Man, we are happy, Justin, to have you a part of it. When you look at this game against Ole Miss, man, I mean, how you feeling about tomorrow?
Man, I'm going to be honest. You know what I'm saying? We'll start getting his, you know what I'm saying? Everybody talking about Texas, and yeah, Texas came in, they handled their business. Like, I didn't see it coming. I thought all the talk that the O-line was doing over the summer, I thought it was going to hold up. No, they did not block for Milroe. Milroe was scrambling and running for his life. If he's not too careful, and if they don't show up, it's going to be the same thing because you got to think. That's Kirby, that's Jimbo last year. This year, Stark can do it. Lane has been waiting for the chance to beat Saban, and he's about one of the only ones left that hasn't. So, of course, he's going to put his best foot forward. So my thing is, if the O-line doesn't show up, and the D-line don't get at the quarterback like they should have got at yours, or however you say his name in Texas, it's going to be a long day. Again, because if that South Florida game didn't show nothing, it showed that they learned from the Texas game, but they still had a problem with less competition. If Texas is stacked up like they are, and Bama is stacked up like they're supposed to be, but they're not showing it. And I remember seeing a column before the season started. Someone was like, Bama's going to lose 4 games. So far, looking at the Texas game, you got to think about how deep the competition is going to be in the SEC. If Bama doesn't show up, like both sides, all 3 phases really, if they don't show up and hold it down, it will be long. Mess around and be in the CarQuest Bowl or something, man.
I mean, Justin, if this team does not show up and show out the way it needs to, you're looking at the Idaho Potato Bowl. That's what you're looking at.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what you're looking at. So,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah. So and so yeah. And what's crazy here is it's like Coach Saban this whole week has talked about, I believe in this team, I trust this team, and I believe he does. But now it's time for these players to be like, look, we are playing like filth, and Coach Saban is sitting here, and Coach Saban got our back. Let's have his.
Yeah.
Let's prove it right.
Exactly,
We're playing like pure trash. We're playing like
Cause...
putrid trash. And Nick Saban is coming up here on live TV saying he trusts us. Let's have his back for once.
Exactly. I'm with you, man, all the way.
Appreciate Justin there calling in from Memphis to the show. I mean, that's all I'm saying. If Nick Saban sees you at your absolute gutter worst, and he's saying, I trust this, y'all better have that man back. I better back that man up. Go out there and play some real ball. You're going to take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening, how we feeling, state your name and where you calling from.
This is Key from Georgia.
Key, what's happening?
What's going on, man? Like I said, I've been watching you for a couple years, man. Big fan, man. And Roll Tide. Let's start it off like that.
Appreciate that, man.
So when I've been looking at it, of course, we got the early loss to Texas. And I didn't think, that was a bad loss in a sense. I was at the game that day, and what I seen was just, a defense that got wore out in the fourth quarter. A lot of people forget we had the lead at the start of the fourth quarter against Texas. And I feel like, even when I think when Milroe threw the interception, Texas went up by like 4 points. And I feel like we would have pulled it out if we would have got that scoring drive. But once he threw that other pick, I was like, okay, I feel like that's it. But I feel like, man, I feel really good about the team. You know, it's a young team. It's a lot of new positions in. Of course, there's no Bryce Young out there. But I feel like I believe in Milroe, and I feel like all the fans should too. We got a lot of people talking this crap and all this junk. Then, you know, and I feel like if you're a Bama fan, you need to get behind your team and support no matter who's out there. And I even feel like even in the Texas game, the crowd wasn't as loud as they should have been. You know, you had a lot of, I even feel sometimes it was like when Milroe went out there, fans was booing. So I feel like the fans have been spoiled over the last 15 years since Saban's been there. And now that we're kind of having a little bit of tribulations, you know, you got people down Saban, which is kind of blasphemous, you know, especially with all he's done from the program, man. So how you feel about that?
I mean, Key, and I'll be honest here, of course, the head coach position and the quarterback position, you're going to get all of the praise and get all of the blame. And sometimes that's not necessarily warranted to you. I mean, people talk about the Texas game and the mistakes that Milroe made. And yes, he made some mistakes, but it was not all on him. The offensive line didn't block worth of anything at all. You had several penalties that happened in the game. You had guys on defense that got burnt like bacon out there. So you had a defensive line. Quinn Ewer's jersey looked like he was going to a wedding. It was so clean. So, I mean, to be honest, it's not 100% on Milroe. Yes, if you were to talk to Jalen Milroe, he will own up to it, bruh, I threw 2 picks. He will take his, because that's the type of player and person he is. But at the same time, we also know it was not fully on him. And I've said this. If there was one bright spot that came from him being benched against South Florida, we all saw it. Tyler Buchner is not it. Love the kid, but he's not it. And we saw that. If we didn't see nothing else, we saw on national TV, it's not Tyler Buchner.
Yep, and as a fan, that's something I'm kind of worried about, man, because if something happens to Milroe, we done. If Milroe was to get hurt or anything like that, I kind of believe in Ty Simpson. I just feel like he ain't got the experience quite yet. But just going back to that Texas game, man, I feel like when he threw that first pick, you know, I feel like that just kind of shifted everything from then on. But like I tell people, we lost to Texas. It's done and over with. And even when I was looking at the schedule last year, looking ahead, and I said if we were going to lose any game, I feel like it beat Texas. And people fail to realize Texas was not a bad team. That wasn't a bad loss. You know, Texas returned their whole offensive line. They returned all that depth, all that talent, which I feel like the kid Worthy, I feel like he's going to be a first-round pick receiver. So we didn't lose to a bad team. We lost to a more experienced team, a team who got Sark, who's a great play caller, you know, and I feel like, too, the defense, in a sense, stayed on the field so much. And people was like, oh, the defense couldn't get pressure. They was throwing that ball, man, like in less than 2 seconds, it felt like.
Right. So this week for Alabama, it's got to be offensively, you get off to a fast start, quick start, fast start. Defensively, come after Jackson Dart, come after Quinshon Judkins, offset Lane Kiffin. You got to offset him as much as possible. But appreciate my man Key calling in from
the game last week. We won 17-3, and I tell people, you know, of course, you're looking at it like we should have won by 50 or however many points in people's head. But I kind of seen that aggressiveness and that, you know, that kind of Bama standard in a sense, that defense, you know, leading the team first. And I feel like the offense is going to come along, man. I just want to see them play some mistake-free football this weekend, fly around, hit somebody in the mouth, and show people who Bama is all these years that we've been doing this. You know, I understand Georgia, like they say in a sense, have become the standard. And like I tell people, nobody hates on Georgia. They doing their thing. If it went, and I tell people this, you know, there's no hate. if it wasn't for Nick Saban, it would be no Georgia right now. There'll be no Kirby Smart at Georgia. So, but you got to give them their credit. I still feel like going back to 2 years ago when we played them in the national championship, if we're at full strength, I still think we beat Georgia. Last year, we underachieved. You know, we had the 2 losses. And I just feel like, man, I just want this team to play to the potential that I know they can play in. I'm not sure what's going on right now, but I feel like this weekend we're going to start rolling in the right direction.
Appreciate Key there calling in from Georgia, giving his thoughts here on the show. We got this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yo, what's up, Steven? This is Willie from Anniston.
Willie, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I hope you enjoyed those chicken nuggets last week from the Bama Standard.
Hey, look, man, enjoyed them. For real.
Man, I want to piggyback off the last caller, man, and say that game against Texas, to me, that was a good game Alabama played. I mean, didn't we lose Key, Malachi Moore, and Caleb Downs in the fourth quarter or prior to the fourth quarter?
Alabama lost. Alabama lost Key, Malachi, Kool-Aid got rolled up on. I think Caleb Downs stayed out there, but I know Key and Malachi went out. Kool-Aid went out for a period of time, too.
And that's when Texas took advantage, and that's when they struck.
Yeah.
You ask me, Alabama played a great game. We played a good game. I mean, offensive line got to clean some things up. But last week against USF, that didn't concern me at all. What I saw, if anything, I think that will help Alabama because we dropped in the rankings. Player grades dropped. And I think now a lot of teams will underestimate us, especially Ole Miss. I think we see a different Alabama moving forward. I think Saban is right about what he saw in practice. This Alabama team will come out with something to prove. And I think they'll clear up the left tackle. I think they'll have something in store. Because Saban does not want to lose to Ole Miss.
Oh, of course not.
I just hope we blitz this quarterback. What happened to our blitz? It's like I saw it last year when we played against Tennessee. And 2 weeks ago against Texas. These quarterbacks, we're not blitzing them. I don't know what that is, but we need to blitz the quarterback. We need to play them like we play every other team.
And not just blitz the quarterback. Somebody on this defensive line has got to create some type of interior pressure. I don't know what's happening in terms of Freddie Roach as the D-line coach, but there is nobody on this defensive line the last couple of seasons that you can just point to and say that guy or this group of guys is consistently affecting the pocket.
Right. Stop dropping 8 and giving guys some help. You know, I think that's a big problem, too. We dropping so many in coverage versus certain quarterbacks. And it's only versus certain quarterbacks. And I don't understand why we only do this to some teams. I don't want to say Alabama fears certain quarterbacks, but there are some quarterbacks we just feel like we got to drop everybody in the coverage. You know, I don't want to see that. We need to really attack the quarterback. And we have an awesome secondary. If we attack the quarterback, our secondary can hold it down. I'm on the road. I drive trucks. But yeah, I just wanted to call in and give my thoughts on that.
Appreciate Willie calling in from Anniston, giving his thoughts here on the show. We got to show some love to Don Parker! DP with a $5 donation. Dropping that in the bucket right there. Appreciate all of you, the Bama fans, calling in, writing in, chatting in, donating in, texting in, making this your spot right here. Call topic, Eli's going to go to Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick in this recent draft by the Carolina Panthers. Former Alabama quarterback, 2021 Heisman Trophy winner, will not play against Seattle this week? What? No, Carolina will not have Bryce Young on the field against the Seahawks. Young, according to the team, ankle injury that he suffered in practice. So Bryce Young won't play against Seattle. Andy Dalton will get the start. So that is the update right there. Bryce Young will not play this weekend because of an ankle injury. Wishing the best recovery for him and having him back on the field soon. But we take our final break here on the show. On Touch That Dial. When we get back, we're going to have a discussion here. Is Nick Saban strategically setting up his word statements in these press conferences this week to potentially embarrass Lane Kiffin tomorrow? We'll wrap things up with that bit of psychology after this.
I'm Malachi Moore, and you're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
What's going on? This is Benny Bice. I'm the founder and owner of Touchdown Alabama. And you guys are supporting one of the only independent outlets covering Alabama football today. No other sports, no networks, just Alabama football. Roll Tide Roll.
All right, folks, we're back into the action here from the break. Number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA, right here on the show. Eli, I gotta do this, man. I gotta give a shout out to my wife Mia and my daughter Mariah one time. I gotta do this. A wife sat there and has the show on her Facebook page right now, which is phenomenal. Mia and Mariah are at home watching the show right now, which is phenomenal. Gotta love my two heartbeats, my wife and my daughter right now. Those two are doing a phenomenal job right now. And so are you, Eli. Keeping everything in a row. Eli, if you were not behind this glass, do you know what I'd be doing right now? Probably driving myself up the wall. Probably driving myself up the wall. Anyway, appreciate you guys checking us out here on the show. Hitting that thumbs up, subscribing, donating, doing what you do to make this your show right here. But a discussion to end, and it's one in psychology, Eli. Nick Saban said a lot this week. One of the things he said is, I don't know if we have a team that's good enough to beat Ole Miss. Texas was a really good team. I know we have a team that's better than what we were a week ago against South Florida. I believe in this team. I trust this team. I think we're going to respond the right way. I don't know if we have a team that's as good as Ole Miss is right now. And Lane Kiffin comes behind this, and he goes, don't give us the rat poison, Goat Saban. Don't give us that. Don't try to poison us. Like, these two are the fresh psychology going on here, Eli. I mean, they say flattery. Is it flattery is the best form of respect? Is it flattery the best form of admiration? To make sure I'm quoting that correctly. But we're seeing the flattery here from Lane Kiffin is what I'm saying. And we're seeing the psychology from both ends. Saban kind of trying to pump up Ole Miss to have people undermine Alabama. And then Kiffin's like, nah, bro, like, don't feed us that. Like, we know how good y'all is. Like, get that mess away. You see the psychology being played here? So, to me, is Saban doing this to have everybody undermine him and the team to where he can come out the other bag and just embarrass Lane Kiffin out there on the field. I can really see that because, I mean, you look at it. Bama 2-1 on the season, haven't played its best football at all. You're ranked 13th in the polls. You already got national talk and media saying there's no national championship for Alabama. How can they win the SEC? Ole Miss is going to destroy them. Saban looks old and outdated. Deion Sanders is the new it thing right now. Coach Prime. You got all of these conversations brewing when you talk the college football landscape. Nick Saban using all of this to push up Ole Miss, get a message to his team, and then have his team go out there and flat out embarrass Lane Kiffin on the field. I can see that. I mean, Eli, can you picture that? Can you see that form of psychology? Because, I mean, you and I both are going to be out there on the field together tomorrow, so we definitely can picture the psychology. Happening. Up front, up close and personal. It's fun to think like that, Kiffin's going, don't feed us this rat poison. Nick Saban's like, I don't know if we got a team good enough to beat Ole Miss. This is funny. This is funny. Kiffin winless in 3 tries against Saban. This is attempt number 4. Pete Golding trying to prove a point, coming back to Tuscaloosa as the defensive coordinator for the Rebels. A lot riding on this. A lot at stake here. Gonna be fun. Once again, I got this final score here to me, 31-17. Eli is holding his prediction for tomorrow. He told me before the show that he's not gonna give it out because he doesn't want to be wrong. So Eli's gonna hold his for tomorrow. As always, Bama fans, you want the best in news, notes, information, entertainment, commentary, fun stuff on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. You download the app from the Apple App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone for your audio needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered right there. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I try to be back on Monday, continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Got to give a shout out to you, the Bama fans. Every phone call, donation, super chat, YouTube chatting, engagement. You making this your spot here for all things Tide football. Gotta show some love to Eli, the veteran Walker, in the production studio, holding it down right there. As always, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored there. Get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Enjoy the matchup tomorrow between Bama and Ole Miss. Till next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.